There is a ghost that haunts the modern world. It is the ghost of untapped potential. It lives in the half-finished novel on your hard drive, in the business plan you drafted but never launched, in the musical instrument gathering dust in the corner, in the courageous conversation you know you need to have, but keep putting off. We are a culture obsessed with potential, yet paralyzed by it. We are terrified of not living up to our own gifts. This paralysis has many names: procrastination, perfectionism, impostor syndrome. But at its core, it is a profound and ancient fear. The fear of risk and the specter of failure. What if I told you that one of the most famous stories ever told is not a gentle encouragement to do your best, but a brutal, terrifying, and psychologically profound indictment of playing it safe? It is a story that suggests that the greatest spiritual and psychological crime is not failing, but refusing to risk. This is the parable of the talents, and it is one of the most uncomfortable and therefore one of the most important stories we can possibly examine. To understand its psychological depth, we must first clear away the Sunday school varnish. This is not a simple story about using our skills for church bake sales. It begins with a master going on a long journey. He entrusts his property to 3 servants, and the scale of this trust is staggering. The talent was not a small coin. It was the largest monetary unit of its day, representing perhaps 20 years' wages for a common laborer. This is life-changing capital. To one servant, he gives 5 talents, to another, 2, and to a third, 1, each according to his ability. The master is a shrewd judge of character and capacity. This is not a random distribution. It is a calculated entrustment. And with that, he leaves. He gives them total autonomy, no micromanagement, no detailed instructions, just a massive endowment of potential and the implicit expectation of a return. The story then splits into 2 psychological portraits. The first 2 servants, the ones with 5 and 2 talents, immediately get to work. The text says, they put his money to work, or went at once and traded with them. They understand the nature of capital. Capital is not meant to be preserved. It is meant to be risked in order to grow. They operate from what a modern psychologist would call an abundance mindset. Their thinking is driven by opportunity. The master trusted me with this immense sum. He believes in my ability. The only way to honor that trust is to engage with the world, to take risks, to create more. Their actions are generative, creative, and courageous. And then we have the third servant, the one with 1 talent. His story is a masterclass in the psychology of fear. What does he do? He goes off, digs a hole in the ground, and hides his master's money. Why? This is not on the surface an act of rebellion or malice. It is an act of preservation, of extreme risk aversion. He operates from what we would call a scarcity mindset. His thinking is driven by threat. This is a huge sum of money. The master is powerful. What if I lose it? The potential for loss is greater than the potential for gain. The only way to guarantee I don't fail is to not play the game at all. I will protect it. I will keep it safe. His action is not creative. It is sterile. It is not courageous. It is contracted. He is governed by the fear of his master's potential wrath. This psychological split between the abundance mindset of the first 2 and the scarcity mindset of the third is the central dynamic of the parable. It is the same split we see in our own lives. The entrepreneur who risks capital to build something new versus the person who keeps their savings under the mattress. The artist who puts their vulnerable work out into the world versus the one whose sketchbook is filled with brilliant ideas that no one will ever see. The person who risks their heart in a new relationship versus the one who builds walls to avoid the possibility of being hurt again. If you recognize this internal battle between the voice of abundance and the voice of scarcity in your own life, you are at the heart of this ancient story. Acknowledge that shared struggle by liking this video. After a long time, the master returns. The day of reckoning arrives. The first servant comes forward. Master, you entrusted me with 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more. The master's response is pure joy and affirmation. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The second servant comes forward. Master, you entrusted me with 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more. And the master's response is identical, word for word. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. This is a critical detail. The praise is not proportional to the amount earned. The 5-talent servant who earned 5 is not praised more than the 2-talent servant who earned 2. The praise is for the process, not the profit. It is for the act of faithful, courageous, risk-taking engagement with the potential they were given. And then comes the third servant. And the temperature of the story plummets. He comes forward, and before he even presents the single, preserved talent, he presents his excuse. And his excuse is a profound psychological confession. Master, he says, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. Let's dissect this. This is the voice of pure fear. I knew that you are a hard man. This is a projection. The servant has created a terrifying, demanding, and unforgiving image of the master in his own mind. Whether this image is accurate or not is irrelevant. It is the image that governs his actions. He relates to the master not through trust, but through terror. So I was afraid. He names the emotion that has paralyzed him. All his actions stemmed from this single, powerful emotion. I went out and hid your talent. His fear led directly to inaction, to sterilization, to the burying of potential. See, here is what belongs to you. This is the core of his defense. I haven't lost anything. I have been a responsible preserver of your capital. I am giving you back exactly what you gave me. I played it safe. He expects to be praised, or at least excused, for his prudence. The master's reply is absolutely brutal. It is one of the harshest moments in all of Jesus' parables. You wicked, lazy servant, he says. He takes the servant's own excuse and turns it against him. So, you knew that I was a hard man. Well then, you should have at least put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that on my return, I would have received it back with interest. He demolishes the servant's logic. Even within your own fearful, distorted view of me, he says, you could have taken a minimal, low-risk action, but you did nothing. Your fear was not a reason for prudence. It was an excuse for total paralysis, laziness. The servant wasn't just risk-averse, he was completely disengaged. And then comes the story's terrifying conclusion. The master says, "Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents." And he utters a principle that seems to fly in the face of all our ideas of fairness. For to everyone who has, will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This sounds like cosmic capitalism, a cruel, the rich get richer ethos. But it is not a financial law. It is a fundamental law of psychology and spirit. Potential that is engaged with, risked, and used grows. A muscle that is exercised becomes stronger. A skill that is practiced becomes masterful. A love that is risked deepens. To those who have the results of their engagement. More capacity for engagement is given. But potential that is buried, preserved, and protected out of fear atrophies. A muscle that is never used withers away. A skill that is never practiced is forgotten. A heart that is never risked shrivels. From the one who has not the fruits of engagement, even the initial capacity for engagement is taken away. The servant didn't just fail to make a profit. By burying the talent, he lost the very capacity to be a creative, risk-taking, engaged being. He chose spiritual and psychological atrophy, and his final fate is stark. Throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is not just a punishment. It is the external reality of the internal world he had already chosen. He was already living in a dark, cold place of fear and paralysis. His final state is simply the complete manifestation of the scarcity mindset he chose to inhabit. So, the story leaves us with a deeply uncomfortable question. It is not, am I a good person? It is, am I a courageous person? The parable suggests that in the economy of the spirit, the opposite of good is not bad. The opposite of faithful is fearful. God in this story is not a gentle, permissive therapist. He is a demanding venture capitalist of the soul. He has invested his own creative capital in us, our life, our breath, our unique skills, our potential for love and creation. And he has given us total autonomy. And he expects a return, not for his own enrichment, but for ours. Because the return is the growth itself. The return is the joy of co-creating with the gifts we have been given. This brings us back to the ghost that haunts us. The unfinished novel, the undrawn painting, the unlaunched idea. The parable of the talents tells us that these buried gifts are not safe. They are not waiting patiently for the perfect moment. They are in a state of atrophy. By playing it safe, we are actively participating in their decay. The fear of failure that makes us bury them is the very thing that guarantees their loss. So let's end with a small, concrete act of unearthing, a live benefit for our time together. Take a moment after this video, just 5 minutes, and perform a talent audit. Ask yourself, what is one gift, one skill, one idea, one potential that I have buried in the ground out of fear? You don't have to act on it yet. You don't have to show it to anyone. The only task is to name it, to write it down, to acknowledge its existence, to dig it out of the cold, dark ground of your fear, and simply look at it in the light. This act of unearthing, of honest self-awareness, is the first step away from the paralysis of the third servant and toward the courageous engagement of the first two. This is the work we do at Soul Scripts. We try to unearth the profound and often challenging wisdom buried in these ancient stories. If you are on this journey of seeking a courageous and engaged faith, subscribe and join our community. And in the comments, if you feel brave enough, you don't have to share what your talent is, but you can share the feeling of unearthing it. You will be in good company. Thank you for digging with us today.